The No Nonsense Roundtable. It's a weekly show broadcast on Rochester, New York's 50,000-watt iHeart radio station, News Radio Wham 1180. The host, Dom Geneva, interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. What you are about to hear is a recording of a previous broadcast with limited commercials. Now, here's host, Dom Geneva.
Well, welcome everybody to another edition of the No Nonsense Roundtable, 10 o'clock right here every Saturday, and all the previous shows, like I like to remind you, are on nonsenseroundtable.com. Now, the show, again, like I like to remind you every day, is people you know you want to know more about, and people you don't know you should know. But I have an industry expert here who has something that I tell you something you all want to know about, and he's happened to written a book, a local fella. His name is Marc-Anthony Arena, and this book about you and your relationship with your computer is really, really, really good, and you need to listen to this, and at the end of the show, we'll tell you how to buy it, because it is absolutely fantastic. And the name of the book is How to Protect Yourself from Your Computer. and Mark, this is a wonderful book that you wrote, and it's done in a very readable fashion for all of us that are just oblivious to this machine that we've become so dependent on our desks.
See what I did there, Dom, is from your computer. I highlighted the fact that we need to protect ourselves from the machine itself and from the industry.
Yeah, and so let me ask you the question I always ask everybody that comes on. You know, I mean, at 10 years old, you didn't say, well, you wanted to be a computer expert. I mean, what did you want to do when you first started out?
Funny you say that. I was actually 10 years old. Hollywood Beach, Florida, 1992. My family had gone down there to visit my grandma's aunt, and we were having lunch there, and she spoiled us with Oreos and toys, and she was the best. And her cousins came in, and they announced that they were going to buy a new TV. And they said, our TV doesn't work anymore, we're going to buy a new TV. And my dad volunteered me. So he took me over to these cousins, and we went up the elevator to their high-rise, and their TV wouldn't turn on. So I said, give me the remote. I look at the remote. I rolled the batteries around. He said, give me some new batteries. I put fresh batteries in the remote. I turned the TV on, and they were astounded. What that taught me, and I didn't know what to do with my life for many years after that, but what that taught me, and I realized this as an adult, is that the vast majority of expenditures in the electronics and IT industry are preventable and unnecessary.
So, are you a Rochester guy originally, or I mean?
Yeah, been here my whole life.
Okay, where'd you go to school?
I went to an all-boys school called McQuaid, and then an all-boys school called RIT.
McQuaid. So discipline is in your background.
Great point. And my teachers were absolutely brilliant, and I didn't know what to do with my life after RIT. I had no clue what to do with myself. And then in 2009, I had gotten the reputation among friends and family of fixing their computers. So I was at my dad's cousin's sister's best friend's house, and my girlfriend at the time happened to accompany me. And afterwards, she observed, hey, you're good at explaining this stuff in plain English. Why don't you do this for a living? And I said, well, I don't want to do this for a living. And I've been here ever since.
Well, and that's the thing about the book. It's very, very readable. You weave some humor through it. And I think that's the way that adults learn. They don't learn by sitting in the classroom and having the teacher up front like the teacher from Charlie Brown, rah 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 rah. That you just lose people that way. But you use a lot of humor, a lot of common sense, and let's get into some of these things, because I want to get into obviously some specifics and everything. What is the biggest misconception people have about their computer and how it works and what they need to know? What's the biggest thing that people are getting maybe snookered by?
The greatest misconception in my industry right now is that people think viruses still occur. If you have a computer guy who thinks he's going to do a virus scan, it means he hasn't had training since at least 2013. Viruses stopped in 2013. They do not occur in a residential setting after 2013. So if you have an antivirus product on your computer, it's not protecting you from modern threats at all whatsoever, but it gives you the added side effects of slowing your computer down by 90% and wasting $70 a year.
So it's the illusion of doing something rather than doing something itself.
Yeah, it's a beautiful false sense of security. It's a beautiful waste of time and money. And it causes your machine to slow down prematurely so that you think you need a new one every couple of years, when in reality, I can make most machines last at least 10 years.
So in the car business, this is the electronic rust proofing of your computer and your data. So you were just here. You see that I have Norton on my. So I'm wasting my money on my Norton. Is that what you're telling me?
It's a beautiful way to destroy that computer so that you have to buy another one, and that's why the big box stores love it, because they're making money per year on it, and also it means you're going to need another machine every couple of years. I run personally, just to prove a point. I run at least all my machines are 10 years old.
Really?
I have a 2012 MacBook Air and a 2012 MacBook Pro as my main machines that I've cleaned and hot rodded. But yeah, you don't need anything. And Dell's last 15 years, I use a 10-year-old Dell at the office.
Okay, so years ago, it was viruses. So what happened? How did that morph into what it is now? And what do you actually call it now? Is there there is a name for it?
I call it the new threats.
Okay.
And that's what I focus on in the book. And all right, so let me put it this way, Dom. What if it's not that someone, so I define spyware, right? Or malware. I define malware as malicious software, right? Anything that spies, destroys, milks you for money, scares you, ruins your machine, whatever, okay? That's now legal. And it's not like someone banged a gavel and declared that it's legal. It's bad guys discovered around 2013, hey, you know what? We can make malware to slow people down, destroy their machines, harvest what they're doing, etc., spy on everything, and make money. And we can do it legally as long as we don't use the word virus.
Really?
It's like, what if you and I wanted to rob a bank and we walked in, and it's okay as long as we say, hey, stick them up, we're the plumbers.
But I mean, it seems like you don't even know this stuff is being installed on your computer. I mean, now let me kind of, something I've seen lately is this thing with the cookies. Before accept the cookies, accept the cookies, the cookies. What I mean, like what are you supposed to do with that? Reject them all? But if you reject them all, then that gums up something else, right?
So that is a beautiful example of hype. Right? And hype gone very wrong. So cookies are totally harmless. They're like friendly bacteria. We need them, especially for your online banking. You need cookies. Okay. But a lot of computer guys got scared and they started saying the word cookies. So a lot of lawmakers got scared because computer guys scared them, and they've never heard of computers before, but they said, oh, we heard cookies are bad. Let's make a lot of laws. So now the European courts made a bunch of laws because they didn't know what cookies were. They just heard they were bad. So they banged a gavel and said, every website that deals with Europeans has to have a massive annoying banner at the front that says cookies. None of it can ever protect you against anything. It's just a beautiful way for them to feel good about themselves.
Okay, we're about ready to head into a break, but so that compels the question. When it says accept all cookies, the acceptable ones or whatever, you should just accept all cookies. Is that what you're saying?
None of it matters.
It doesn't matter no matter what you do.
It's all drop in a bucket compared to the stuff that the bad guys are doing legally. So when we come back, I'll explain legalized spyware and how it works.
Okay, and we're going to be talking about that, right after this break.
It's a magical place for kids of all abilities.
At no charge, the Rochester Rotary Sunshine Camp has been serving children of all abilities for the last 100 years. Help us grow into the next 100 years. Go to sunshinecamp.org to learn more about how you can help.
Where kids have no barriers to fun.
The Rochester Rotary Sunshine Camp.
This is Dom Genova from my friend Jack Greco at Jack Greco Furniture. I'd invite you to go see Jack Greco if you're looking to buy furniture right now. But beyond that, I'd invite you to go see Jack Greco if you're ever going to buy new furniture. And why? You can look and dream and plan how exactly you'd like your furniture. The type of wood, construction is half the fun. It's going to be reflective of your taste, and quite frankly, you'll want to pass it down as an heirloom. Can't say that about the big box stores. Go see Jack. Well, welcome back. We're talking with Marc-Anthony Arena, who wrote this fantastic book, How to Protect Yourself from Your Computer. And God bless you. What an interesting and readable book this is. And I'm getting more educated as we're sitting here, even talking between the break. But we were talking about cookies, and not the cookies that Grandma made, the ones that go onto your computer. And so I again, accept the cookies, don't accept the cookies. Like who gives a rat's hiney? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure, some of them, whatever.
Okay.
But they're so tiny compared to what's going on with your machine.
And I think a lot of people say, when I accept cookies, I am accepting something that might be a worm in the apple. And you're saying that really, that they really don't. The cookies themselves are not spy. It gives them information, but not something that they can act on.
Right. It's a massive pain to sit there now and click on all these giant banners. And usually I tell it no for cookies. That's fine. But the real issue, again, is the antivirus software that slows you down by 90%, wastes your money. Oh, and by the way, if you're infected with Avast or AVG or Norton, they're actually exploiting you.
And how's that?
And there's so many examples. Avast will record your history, harvest all your behavior, and sell it through a subsidiary.
Okay.
AVG includes the AVG Secure Browser, which, again, harvests all your behavior. In Norton's case, they're utilizing your machine to mine Bitcoin.
Huh?
Yeah. It's in the fine print. No one's going to know this. Technically, Norton puts up their hands and says, well, you could always opt out of it. But if you're a mind reader and knew it was happening, Norton is exploiting all of your machines right now and can't protect you from anything, so there's no trade-off.
And giving you this false sense of security.
Yes.
And charging you a lot of money.
So what? Oh yeah, I walk in. The first threat I remove is Norton, McAfee, WebRoot, whatever. And a lot of times I'll walk in after a disaster. People love calling me after a disaster. And I walk in and I say, hey, okay, so you had a bad guy steal your identity and take all your bank accounts and your computer's horribly slow. And I say, hey, but Norton's sitting there twiddling its thumbs with a happy face and a shield and a green check mark, because people feel good about green shields, don't they? And it's sitting there twiddling its thumbs. And I say, how well did that work out for you? Okay. And that's when they get it.
Wait, okay, so let's talk about that security thing with your bank. Okay, so you did the bank. Now I for my bank, I don't store my passwords. Exactly. I'm written down on a yellow piece of paper. I'm not going to tell you where they are.
Yeah.
I mean that's it. I have a yellow piece of paper. Make a copy. Put in an envelope. Put in another envelope, and then seal it. Stick it someplace where nobody knows. Write the address to Uncle Harry someplace so nobody knows that's the. Oh, I'm telling everybody how this works here at the studio. So,
but you're right.
But anyway,
dead tree.
Yes, like pencil and piece of paper.
Yep.
So when I'm dealing with my bank, nobody knows unless they're seeing what I'm typing in. And can they see what I'm typing in?
It's incredibly astronomically rare.
Okay. So when I type in my password for my bank and I do something with my bank, they send me. They want to know if it's me. So they send me a note, a text note, with a number on it, and I got to put that in. Okay, that sounds pretty damn secure, is it?
So in my book, I have a picture of a castle, and there's a lot of guards in front of the castle, and you feel good, and your castle is secure. But the back door is open, and the drawbridge is open in the back.
Okay.
So a lot of these companies are infected with Microsoft technology, which means in the back door, they have no security. So they love putting the onus on you. You have to have a strong password. So now you and I are confused, and every senior citizen on Earth is confused and has to have strong, crazy passwords. But in the meantime, none of that matters. All that stuff about strong passwords is totally pointless. The bad guys walk in the back door. It's like those crime movies when they go to a car dealership and they rip the box off the wall with all the master keys.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. They don't care how strong your password is.
Okay, so the direction you seem to be going in with this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the guys that are hacking are not really concerned about my bank accounts and the minuscule amount of money that I have in my bank accounts. They want the big guy. They if they're going to hack something, they're going to hack the bank itself or the system. Is that what you're saying?
And then that's why every once in a while your bank sends out this little letter that says, "Oh, we had an issue," and then they put the blame on you and make you change your password and all that because they don't want to admit that they had an issue.
So the other thing that you sound to be, it seems to be you're saying, is that there's a lot of stuff out there that you can protect yourself, but you really can't do much about.
As long as you know what's happening, you can protect yourself, right? That's what matters most, is you learning the concepts so you can protect yourself. So here's the deal with legalized spyware. That is the first new threat. Okay, you'll see toolbars which latch onto your web browser, right? You ever see those ones where they dangle a penny in front of you and say, you're going to get coupons and you're going to save money and shopping buddy and all those. They record and harvest all your behavior, and then they dangle a penny in front of you as your reward.
Okay.
So those are fully legalized. They record all your behavior. And again, most computer guys, they don't understand that. They're still looking for viruses like it's 1981. So the other thing... There's a lot of categories of legalized spyware. There's a lot of things that can spy on you legally. Mm-hmm. There's also fake browsers like Wave Browser and One Browser, and nobody knows how they got in. They just walk into the machine and you clicked on it and you didn't know what it was. And again, they harvest all your behavior. Microsoft Edge, in and of itself, the primary purpose is to harvest and sell your behavior. There's a lot of articles. I'm not just making this up. This is all out there. Mm-hmm. All articles are supported by articles. The last piece of legalized spyware would be printer spyware.
Printer spyware.
Every printer now comes with a CD or a download, and most of it is spyware. They make you think, well, I need the driver to run my printer. That's only a little tiny piece of it. The rest of it is spyware, slows your computer down massively. I did corporate tech support for a year, and one day, everybody in the organization called me and said, Mark, my computer's horribly slow. And I said, what did you do? And they all said... Every call, well, I didn't do anything, but your guy came in the other day and installed an HP printer for me. I said, really? And I connected the dots and found out that HP, they all do it, but HP has the most spyware. They call it the customer participation program, and you're an unwilling participant in their evil program.
Oh my God! Oh God! You should write a book. Well, you did write a book. You did write a book. So before we get into this break, which is coming up relatively shortly, let's tell people a little retail how to get a hold of your book, how to protect yourself from your computer.
It's available anywhere books are sold. It's not just Amazon. You can get it there, but it's anywhere books are sold. You can order it in any bookstore in the world. There's plenty of retailers anywhere books are sold.
Well, I'm going to give my 100% endorsement to this because I've read the book and even I could understand it. So that's a pretty good thing. And then you do this with a little tongue in cheek and it's very readable and I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed. And I'd like everybody to be prepared to be more amazed, well, after this news break. This is Don from Martinizing Dry Cleaning in Fairport. Todd, the owner, was a corporate guy just like me. Left his corporate job to start his business, Martinizing Dry Cleaning in Fairport. And boy, what a great business it is. He picks your clothes up and drops them off, which is really great, especially now that the weather's getting the way it is. I have to tell you, they have a 4.9 rating out of 5 on Google. Go see them. 425-4242. 425-4242. I use them. You should too. Well, welcome back. We are having a wonderful conversation with Marc-Anthony Arena, who wrote this book, industry expert who wrote this book, How to Protect Yourself from Your Computer. You're like the no-nonsense computer guy.
I love that, and I love that we think the same way.
Well, no, we really do. I'll do a little retail for myself. I mean, the process of writing a book, we should have it done in the next maybe month, and it's the title of it is "Don't Be Taken for a Ride," it's an insider's guide to the stuff that you need to know when you buy a car. Like zero down might actually mean like $5,000 down, and I show you how that works, and it's exactly the stuff that you're showing us now.
Oh yeah, and folks, I've read a good chunk of his book, and I love it. It's so similar. It's so fun to read. It's just I'm excited to look at it, and I'm excited to keep reading it.
Yeah. And a lot of it is from my philosophy when I was selling cars. Like 10 sales. If moving my cars 2 miles down the road into a parking lot to sell them made them cheaper, if I sent them to Schenectady, they'd be half price, right? I mean, that makes no sense.
And I was blown away with your anecdotes about they put a payment up there, and then in microscopic letters it says bi-weekly.
Yeah. So we got all that stuff and some stories and whatever. But it's written. What I found that Mark's writing style and my writing style are exactly the same. They're kind of informal, like you're just talking to your buddy or whatever. So that's a good thing. Now this is a direction that is a good place to go to, is that I had Sheriff Todd Baxter on my show. We're doing program every Thursday, and you can get the old shows on NoNonsenseRoundtable.com. But we do Thursdays with Sheriff Todd. So I do, like 5 minutes, 11 minutes with Sheriff Todd, and we were talking about cybercrime. And he was talking about there's 3 things with cybercrime. He says somebody's got to contact you. They have to either scare you or bribe you, or it's either greed or fear that's got to motivate you, and then you have to take some type of action. And what you're saying is that, I think, is that that's far more common than somebody putting, like a virus and stealing your information, right? Isn't that what you're saying?
The bad guys realized, again, why should we bother writing viruses when we can do the legalized spyware, or we can do, ready for this? That's a great segue into new threat number 2. The second new threat is support scams, or online scams. The most common one is a support scam, where the guy either calls you up, or you stumble on him online, or you stumble on a scary full screen thing that with sirens and warnings, and it says, "Warning, you have cookies and Trojans and North Koreans," and there's sirens and phone numbers. And so either way, you get on the phone with the guy. The guy tells you he's Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, whatever. And then he scares you, right? He reads a list of scary words, and he does a fake scan on your computer. And then he either asks you for all your bank accounts, or tells you to go buy him $600 of barbecue rib gift cards, or something like that. Here's the whole key here. Number 1, remember that everything he says is utterly fake. It's a scary sentence.
Yes.
There's no monsters under the bed. It's a scary sentence. He knows that we are trained to fear certain words. Okay? The other thing is, big tech hates you, and they will never call you, and they will never give you a phone number. Anyone doing that means they have nothing to do with their lives, and big tech is too busy for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so assume anything like that is a scam. The scarier and the weirder it sounds, and the "don't turn off your computer," and yes, turn off your computer, because that's not, find the X, press escape, or look for the X at the top of the screen and close the scary message. And then people say, "Did anyone get into my computer?" No, it's just a scary sentence, right? The only time anyone can ever get into your computer is if you let them. All right, there's a Swedish vampire movie called "Don't Let the Right One In." The only time the guy can get into your computer is if you let him.
Really? Okay.
Here's something computer guys don't understand either. They use fully legalized remote support tools that any tech support guy would use. So again, if you bring it to a dude at a store and tell him to do a virus scan, he ain't gonna find nothing, because the bad guys use fully legalized tools, and you give your consent for the guy to break into your machine.
Okay, so when you are on a somebody's Wi-Fi, be here, and you're at at the supermarket or whatever, so can you're saying that they can't get into your computer?
No one
can
ever.
Okay.
It's astronomically unlikely. It's virtually
So
impossible.
if somebody sends you a note and says, we've gotten there and we see everything that you've done, unless you've done something for that, they can't have seen the stuff that that you've done. I got something the other day, and it was one of those things. We have video of you. Blah 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 blah. Well, I have a piece of tape over my over my camera. Nobody's seeing any video of me.
That's actually a paragraph that they send to everybody.
Yeah,
right.
You're not seeing any video of me. Don't give me this crap. I mean, it's a lie, and it's like a bad lie. I mean,
but they're taking advantage of the fact that everything in this industry. We have lived as a human family. We have lived in fear for the past 30 years because of the extreme incompetence of this industry.
Yeah,
and they take advantage of that. No one can ever get into your anything. If any company tells you you're going to go on public Wi-Fi and you're going to be exposed, that's all fake. All the fear is fake from the bad guys and the legitimate legal guys. It's all fake.
I like that voice, by the way. Do you do that?
I do cartoon voices on every show.
So we're wasting money on the antivirus. I mean, is there something we should be spending the money on?
Yeah. What you do is you buy a Bible. And you put your hand on it, and you promise me and yourself and God that you won't talk to a scary guy who claims to be his Amazon. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Now, other than writing a book, I mean, your company. Let's talk a little bit about your company.
Sure, it's called The Computer Exorcist.
Great name, The Computer Exorcist. I can remember that.
Yeah, it has to be relatable, right? And all this stuff acts possessed. All of this stuff, right? Your fridge and your car, those last decades, right? Your printer lasts a year. And there's no reason for any of this. So all of this acts possessed, and I put a stop to all of it, and you just don't have problems anymore. Rather than milking you for monthly fees, I put a stop to all of it. And that's what happened. Most computer dudes have like 40 clients or whatever. I'm up to 2,100, and I can't handle anymore because I just put a stop to all of it.
Okay. So we've already determined that I would be a good client for you. Okay. So what do? I call you up. I bring the machine in. You come to me. I mean, how does this all work?
I've been teaching guys how to do this. I teach people how to go to people's homes and clean up their stuff. Because our goal is we don't want to make you lug your machine to some guy's place for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that. I give speeches and I teach guys how to do this for a living. And it's a worldwide issue. It's fully preventable. And I mean, there's so many of these new threats. We've only done 2 of them, and there's so many.
Well, and the other thing, you're not selling some other program. You're just fixing the computers, right?
Less is more.
Right. Well,
Remember the guy from Lotus?
Well, I mean, when you go to one of these big box stores, you go to Best Buy. Yep. Okay. Well, the Geek Squad, is getting paid to help, but also I'm sure they're getting some type of spiff for selling you stuff, right?
Now, pay attention if you ever, heaven forbid, walk into that store. Pay attention to see if the guy is drooling. And whatever brands he's drooling the most about, you run.
Yeah.
If he tells you HP, Samsung, they get kickbacks from those organizations. Yeah. And those products are in my recycle pile very quickly.
Yeah. So we're heading into another break, our last break, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more of, how to take advantage of your services and have you actually help our listeners. And we'll be right after this. This is Dom for my friend John Myers and his new company, Life Interviews. I'm going to ask you to go look at the website he has, Life Interviews. There's no T in it, Interviews, where you'll see a fantastic presentation on what they do. And what they do is create a video legacy for you to pass down to future generations. More than just getting your DNA, you can pass down your story. Go see, you'll be amazed. It's a great idea, but do me a favor. Wait till the end of the No Nonsense Roundtable. Well, welcome back. We're talking to Marc-Anthony Arena, industry expert on computers. And it's amazing how computers have changed over the time. I talk all the time that IBM used to be the #1 producer of desktop computers in the early 80s, and they morphed away from that. And now they don't do that anymore.
Well, they sold that division to Lenovo, and luckily Lenovo kept the quality. So Dell and Lenovo are my favorite because both brands they make rock solid machines.
Ooh. What would you call any of them like a crappy brand?
I recommend any brand that's not HP. Forever and ever, amen.
Okay. And what about the HP that you don't like?
In my professional experience,
Okay.
I have to qualify
disclaimer,
that.
yes.
Right, disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer, yeah.
That my recycle pile in the office is full of HPs every week that die prematurely. I had 4 of them die during setup.
Okay.
And on top of that, HP, the spying campaign is massive. They spend most of their R&D at this point, or a good percentage of their R&D, learning how to thwart the customer. There were 2 incidents over the past decade where they did a sleeper cell attack, where they implemented an update attack in their printer that turned on you if you bought generic cartridges.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they claimed they were protecting you from viruses, and the whole industry was like, no, you're not.
Yeah. The question I have too is explain to me this thing with the Chromebook. You used to have Chrome. Do you still have Chromebooks? What's it between a laptop and a Chromebook? So
a Chromebook is for infants and senior citizens. The idea, it's a great idea gone wrong.
Oh God, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, we're having fun. That's
the
good.
industry is this preposterous, Dom.
Okay.
It is this. So you have the chaos and the fear and the confusion with the Microsoft, and then you have the extreme draconian brutality of Apple. So Google says, you know what? There's this duopoly here. This is an opportunity for us. And I always knew it would take a household name or some big name to go in there. Right, it's like it takes a Mothra to fight a Godzilla, right?
Okay.
So it takes.
I've always said that. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
And it takes a big guy to come in there and fight that. So Google came out with this thing called a Chromebook, and yes, it's easy. There's no fear and stupidity like the Microsoft world. The Chromebooks are okay, but you are only allowed to go to websites. You are not allowed to do anything else with them. Everything you do is monitored and controlled by Google forever. Oh, and by the way, it's a time bomb where you're not allowed to use it after 2 years. It'll pop up with scary messages saying, shame on you, you might get viruses. Why don't you put this in the garbage and buy another one? So think about all the school districts in the world that bought Chromebooks, millions and millions and millions of them. And after X number of years, 2-3 years, whatever it is, it says, shame on you, it's out of support. And support is a magic word. And in my next book, I call it the support treadmill scandal.
Okay.
Where they say the word support. And you'll see this too with Windows, where someone calls me up and says, I just got a scary message that says Windows 7, 8, 9, 10, 7, 8, 10, 11 are out of support. Does that mean my computer's going to explode? They said I should buy a new one. So support is the greatest cash grab of all time. It just means let's scare someone into thinking they need a new one. So planned obsolescence from the car industry. This is what I call forced obsolescence. Okay, where all of a sudden we're going to scare you into thinking you need another one. And the guys in the computer industry are more than willing to welcome you into the big box store with open arms, and they're glad to sell you another one. In my professional estimation, 99% of the machines that are in the landfill right now are there unnecessarily.
So what they're saying, to paraphrase it, is that we are no longer going to have a service department at our dealership, but we're not. But your car is still going to work. But if you have a problem with it, we're not going to be able to help you. Is that what they're saying?
And people become under the impression that it's going to explode or that they're going to be left stranded or whatever. Hey, you know what? Even when Studebaker, Oldsmobile, Saab, Pontiac, right? When they shut down, you can still drive them. It doesn't explode. It just means they don't want to answer phone calls regarding that product anymore.
This is really good stuff. I'm
a closet car guy. You don't know that.
Well, the similarities are just amazing. Because you're being manipulated by. I mean, with the car business, there are 3 levels. There's a dealership. There's like an advertising group, and there's the dealers themselves. And if you're talking about automotive marketing, I mean, there's all these different levels and very confusing. And actually, in my book, I have a dealer to English dictionary. Oh yeah. So when a dealer says this, it really means that.
They're trying to confuse you.
They're trying to confuse you and manipulate you.
And who's on your side of the table?
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yeah.
And unfortunately, and this is a future episode, but unfortunately, the arrogance and stupidity and brutality of my industry is now spilling over into yours.
Okay.
And we'll get to that.
Well, and that's the thing. Well, your car is spying on you now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's a black box in your car. You know what? I love this thing. You know, you sign up for our safe driver program, and we're going to give you a discount. Well, yeah, they also can tell, you know, where you're driving, how fast you're driving, or whatever. There was a story online. I don't know if it's true or not, but some guy had his cell phone in his pocket when he was on a roller coaster. And the insurance company says, no, we saw that you were driving recklessly.
Wow, that one I didn't. But and they dangle a penny in front of you. You're going to save a penny with your car insurance, but then you gave up all your freedoms. Congratulations.
Well, I think we have a whole nother show that we're going to have after the show. But I think one of the things I want to repeat it, but the same thing that Todd Baxter was saying during that interview. He was saying that they got to contact you. They got to make you afraid or greedy for something, and then you have to act. You have to let them in. If you don't open the door, they can't get in. So, and that's the thing. You have to contact me right away. You know, I had that happen with a logo I had. I bought a logo from a logo company, and then they're contacting me saying that I had to give them $3,000. Or they were going to you have the state department of whatever come get me. The state has nothing to do with federal trademarks. It's completely a non sequitur. But they're dangling this thing, trying to make me afraid of having a fine, and they don't even. I mean, it's so amateurish. It was amazing.
Oh, and there's so many. And in my next book, I'm talking about legalized scams, so to speak, where they'll send this letter to business owners that says, "Oh, your website's about to expire." Well, that's public knowledge, just like your property tax, but people don't realize that. And they say your website's going to expire, and if you sign on with them, they hijack your whole website. There's so much of that, Dom. So back to what we were saying about the Chromebooks expiring, right? What I do in the case of a Chromebook, and there's millions of them all over the landfills and in school shelving and whatever, is I liberate it, right? With old Windows machines, old Mac machines, and old Chromebooks, I liberate them with a fourth thing called Mint. It looks like a normal computer. There's no learning curve, but it's virtually bulletproof. It's extremely minimalist. And guess what? It lets you online, and you do your emails, and you do your documents. That's all people want, and it leaves you alone, and it's good for 10, 15 years.
Wow.
So I teach technicians how to liberate machines.
Okay. So we're running out of time. So let's do this little retail thing again. Give everybody a way to get a hold of you. And
thecomputerexorcist.com.
I love that. The Computer Exorcist. It's so easy to remember. Thecomputerexorcist.com. But I can tell already that we need to have another show. So we'll have another show. This will be on our YouTube channel, and you can get that from going to our YouTube channel, or you can go to nononsenseroundtable.com and get a link there, and share this with your family and friends, and we're definitely going to do another one of these shows. This is good stuff.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, thanks for coming in. And next week, 10 o'clock, right here, it's the No Nonsense Roundtable.
Thanks for listening. Tune in every Saturday from 10 to 11 on News Radio Wham 1180. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.